Déformé un peu. Il y a la moitié des trucs complétés. À chaque fois, ça fait ça, t'as des aliments.
J'ai eu la même chose à toute la présentation de ma thèse. C'est vidéo,
Okay. Okay, thank you everyone for your patience, and we're gonna get started. So we have our reps today from Exquisito, Peru. So I'll let them take it away if you want.
Do you want me to present in English?
Either language is fine, whatever you're comfortable.
So my name is Jesse. I'm the co-founder of Exquisito Peru. We have been offering culinary experiences since about a year now. We are a team of 3 people. Emily is the other co-founder. She's based in Canada right now. And we have Pia, who is our chef for our cooking class. And she also takes care of the design of the experiences with her culinary experience. Something that is very important for us, for Emily and I, because before we used to work for a company called Visit.org that was offering tours with rural communities, NGOs, and all that kind of organization. So for us, it's really important to have a social impact with every of our experiences. So at the beginning, when one starts a company, it's really difficult in terms of money, time, to create that impact. So we decided to start with something easy to implement, and that's why we partner with Acción contra el Hambre to basically what we do is that for every booking, we give a meal to this organization. And basically, the idea is to support a community that is based in Ayacucho with a healthy meal. So the donation exactly is 5 soles, which is the amount we decided with the organization that would cover the fee for a healthy meal. So it's a community that suffers from anemia, malnutrition, and that kind of stuff. Okay, it broke with the PowerPoint. So that's our most famous product. It's in Barranco. It's a 4-hour walking food tour where the tourists can taste up to 16 different things, drinks, dishes, chocolate, coffee. And so we operate in pool and in private. In the case of the pool service, it's up to 8 people only. We really want to keep small groups so that the guide can interact better with all the passengers. But if it's a private tour, then we can go up to, we have been up to 25 people in this tour. So that's the itinerary. We start at Plaza San Francisco, which is a really cute and small square in Barranco. It's not the main square, it's a smaller one. Then we walk to Café Negro. Café Negro is a kind of a market stand / cafeteria where tourists basically have breakfast. So it's bread with avocado, with cheese and sal de maras, and lucma juice. And the owner of the place, Roberto, presents how to make coffee with a French press. And he's passionate about coffee, so there is some interaction between the tourist and the owner of this place, and he speaks both Spanish and English, so it's really interesting to speak with someone else than the guide. Then we go next door to taste some fruits and explain the tourist about the different vegetables, herbs that you can find in Peru. After that, we walk about 5-6 minutes to El Cacautal. Everything is walking. There is no transportation between each stop. In El Cacautal, Amanda, who is from the U.S., she's a specialist. She knows everything there is to know about cacao and chocolate. So we have a small. We start with a small presentation about chocolate, and then there is a game where tourists have to basically taste different chocolate from different regions of Peru and match the region with what they are tasting. And it's really they really like it. It's really fun. Cacao from Piura is very different than one from Cusco, and I recommend you to go to this place to see all the variety of chocolate there is in Peru. Then we do what's basically the classic touristic part of Barranco with the Puente de los Suspiros y la Bajada de Baños. Takes about 30 minutes, this part. We go to the graffiti places, we explain what is Barranco, in Lima, what does Barranco represent. And then point 6, we go to a gallery of Jad Rivera, which is one of the most famous urban artists in Lima. Then we go to El Verídico de Fidel, where they will start with it's basically a trio of ceviche, causa limeña, and chicharrón de pescado. And on the table, the cevichero comes and makes a presentation and shows the tourists how to prepare ceviche. The tourists themselves don't make it. It's not a cooking class, but they see how it's made basically. And it's with a chicha morada. Then we go next door to Juanito to eat lomo saltado with tacu tacu and Inca Cola. What's great here is that we can enter to the kitchen and see how to prepare lomo saltado. It's very impressive with the wok and all the fire, and the explanation is live with the chef. So it's really great. They are not just eating, but they're seeing also how it's made. In all the stops, tourists eat very small portion. The idea is not to give them a full ceviche, a full lomo saltado, because otherwise they wouldn't be able to eat everything. And after Juanito, we go to La Bodega Piselli to drink pisco sour. There as well, the bartender makes a presentation. They see how many ounces of pisco, how many ounces of lime and everything. And then for the dessert, we go to Creme de la Creme for an ice cream, basically. And there's many options. There's lucma, there's chocolate, chirimoya. We try to tell them to try Peruvian typical savors, but if they want to eat vanilla, they can eat vanilla. Okay, broke, totally. Okay, I hope you understand more or less. So the pool service runs from Monday to Sunday. We just opened Sunday about 2 weeks ago. So depending on the language, we have a different time. And for private, it can be any time between 8:30 to 1 p.m. 1 p.m. is the limit right now because, for example, with the ceviche place, they close at 4, so it's kind of difficult to start later than that. And if you have a group, I don't know, in Portuguese or any other language, we can probably operate it as well in private because we have many guys that are that know the route. We have Portuguese, Italian, German, Chinese, Polish as well. So just let us know and we'll find a solution. So that's one of the reviews that we like to brag about. And then there is a very similar tour in Barranco, but for vegans. So it's a very similar route, but we made some changes because obviously we couldn't go to Juanito for vegans. So we start in Ayahuasca Bar. We don't go to the bar, but it's just where we start. Then we go to La Panadera, where they will eat It's an empanada de racacha. Racacha is a very old tubercle from the Andes. It's a superfood, and they'll have it with a juice. Then we go to Café Negro, exactly the same as the other tour, but of course without cheese. And the lucma juice, we use soy milk. Then the market, Puente de los Suspiros, the gallery. Then we go to Piselli instead of the pisco sour chilcano to avoid the egg. Then we go to La Calandria, which is a small organic shop with many interesting products, herbs to make tea. They have, I think, 30 different types of herbs, so it's really interesting to talk about them. Then we go to Germinando Vida to try basically the classics of Peruvian cuisine with ceviche, but made with mushrooms and mango. Portobello saltado, which is the replacement for lomo saltado, and causa de quinoa instead of shrimps in the case of the normal tour. And then we end at Crème de la Crème. They also have vegan ice cream. Well, not ice cream, I don't know how you say it. Vegan gelato. Oh yeah, one thing important to know is that with the other Barranco tour, we can adapt to vegetarian, people with lactose intolerance, gluten intolerance, no problem. The only limitation is for vegan, and that's why we have this alternative route. So the logistic is basically the same. We just have different times. Yeah, the private is also for Sunday, not only Saturday. And another review. I don't know if you want to read everything. You can always check our TripAdvisor account. And then we have another one, which is quite popular, is in the historic center of Lima by night. It's same dynamics, 4 hours, everything walking, with 8 people max in each group. That's the itinerary. We start next to the Metro supermarket. It's a good place to stop with the car or with the van. Then we walk to Churro San Francisco to try a churro with dulce de leche. Then we go to Basilica San Francisco. We just spend 10-15 minutes there so they can take pictures, see a bit inside. But it's not an historic tour per se. I mean, about 75% of the content is gastronomic, and the other part is historic, cultural. But if you have clients who really want to know in depth what's the Basilica San Francisco, they shouldn't take our tour because we'll just cover, the basics, and then we'll move on. Then we go to Bar Cordano. Bar Cordano is a very old tavern in the historic center from 1905. We'll have pan con chicharrón with chicha morada, just half of a pan con chicharrón, otherwise they'll be full. Then we continue to Plaza Mayor, where you'll see the Palacio de Gobierno, all the amazing buildings and architecture that you can find there. And then we go to a place called Peru Cacao Lima Uno, where it's a beer place where they will have a small tasting of two different beers. So the guy who makes those beer is from Belgium, and he makes them the way they make them in Belgium, but just about 2 square from the Plaza de Armas. So they are made in Lima, but with in a Belgian way. Nicolas can talk about that later. Then from there we go to Alameda Chauca Granda. So that's the street food part, where like tourists, what we do basically here, it's a bit different than the other stops, because in the other stops, it's always the same food. They get it on the table and they kind of have to eat it, you know. But in La Alameda, it's different because there are so many options. You have anticuchos, picarones, mazamora morada, emoliente, and I'm probably forgetting some. But not everyone is comfortable about eating anticuchos, and even less anticuchos in a carretilla. No? So the guide basically go to every carretilla first to explain what's the dish, what's the story behind it, and how do you prepare it, and then the tourist has to decide what they want to eat. Right? Usually they take picarones, emoliente. Some of them take anticuchos, but it's not the most usual thing. Then we go down all the way, Girón de la Unión. We make several stops in Iglesia de la Merced. We stop by a polleria to just explain what pollo a la brasa is in Peru, what does it represent, but we don't actually eat it. Until we get to Plaza San Martin, take some photos, and then we go to Bodega Querolo, which is the last food stop, where they will have yuca rellena. It's like a papa rellena, but with yuca, which is even tastier, I think. And then they have a papa with, it's either huancaína or copa or rocoto. It depends on the day. They make a different one each day. And with chilcano. And then they go to Hotel Bolivar mostly for the drop-off. So this one is only available from Monday to Saturday, because on Sunday night in the center everything is closed, everything literally. So we have 3 different times depending on the language, and we can also operate it in private in other languages. Another one. Then we have it's a 2 hours experience to taste Peruvian cheeses and wines in Miraflores. This one we reserve it mostly for big groups, because we used to open it to smaller groups, but it was kind of difficult with the wine and the cost and all that stuff. So if you have 8 people or more, it's really great. It's a 2-hour tasting session where they can taste 8 different Peruvian cheeses, 4 wines. There is coffee. There's even a dessert, usually chocolate based. And it can be organized from any time from 12 to 7:30 from Monday to Sunday. And then the last product is a market tour with a cooking class. So here you see Pia on the left with 2 tourists from France. So basically it starts with a 1-hour visit at the market. The market is in Surquillo, but it's not the Surquillo market most people know near the Via Expresa. It's another one called San Felipe, which is at the cross between Angamos and República de Panama. So it's why do we go there? Because basically Pia lives 15 minutes away from this market, and she actually goes there for real. So she knows everyone there. So it's a different type of experience than just going to a random market and you don't know anything and you just buy, and it's not the same feeling. So we basically spend 1 hour. We first start with a fruit tasting session, about 20 minutes. They can taste up to 6-7 fruits, and then we basically go with them to buy all the ingredients that are needed for the cooking class. And in this cooking class, as you can see, we'll prepare lomo saltado, causa de atún, suspiro a la limeña, chicha morada. Well, the chicha morada is we prepare it the day before because it has to cool, and pisco sour. And we finish with coffee, obviously. So that's the typical menu, but we've had groups who wanted to make ceviche, tiradito, leche de tigre, but we can accommodate for that, but the price could vary. It really depends on what they ask. For example, once we had a guy from Chile. He wanted to only he wanted ceviche, pulpo al olivo, tiradito. Like the cost was way higher than what we used to prepare. So we did it, but we charge more basically. So the class is at 11 a.m. We start at 11 a.m. in the market. But if you need another time, you can book it as a private experience. We have another chef, Alonso, because Pia is not working 65 days a year, unfortunately. But if she's not available, then there is Alonso, who lives really close to her, and it's basically the same itinerary. So if one day we have a pool service and you need a private service on the same day, of course we cannot do it in the same kitchen. So we'll have Alonso to take one of them. That's another one. Transportation. That's John. So in all the experience that you see, we include the transfer, the pickup and drop off from their hotel in Miraflores, San Isidro, or Barranco. And all the drivers are equipped with their photo check, and there is our logo on the van or on the car. And the way we operate this is that we first want the customer to be comfortable. So if, for example, for one pool service, we have, let's say, two couples, one in the Westin and another one in the Dazzler, they all have to start their tour at 9:30. What we will do is to send two different cars to those different hotels, because we don't want the people from the Westin to have to go out the Via Expressa, take Pardo at this time with a lot of traffic, and they would need to leave their hotel at maybe 8:15 or something like that. We don't want that. We don't want them to leave at 8:15 to get to Barranco at 9:30. So we send two different cars. Now, if we have two hotels that are very near one to each other, we'll send a van. The ones in the Marriott, they will lose 5 minutes maybe, which is not a big deal, I think. Questions? No? So we start in Surquillo, in Mercado San Felipe, and then from there it's about a 15 minutes ride. We take the bus, the public bus. I know some travel agencies told us, don't you want to put a van or a car? But it's fine. At this time there is no traffic. The bus is empty, and it's a good bus. It's not one of those with the big black smoke behind. No, it's a good one. So it's about 15 minutes, and we go to San Isidro. It's in San Isidro. It's actually the flat of Pia. It's her own flat, and it's in the area near the Ministry of Tourism, Corpac, that area. Yeah.
If there's a group of like 5 or 4 people every New Year's, but then one is vegan or vegetarian, can they still enjoy the experience on the regular?
Yeah, I mean, if they are vegetarian, no problem at all. We have option, but if they are vegan, it gets really difficult. We could probably do something, but the reason why we created the vegan tour is because we didn't want them to just eat a salad and soup, and because we wanted them to really taste Peruvian cuisine. And unfortunately, in Juanito or in Verídico del Fidel, I'm sure they can prepare something vegan, but it will be something very basic, and I'm not sure they will enjoy it as much as the actual vegan tour.
When the tour's in private, obviously I'm sure it can be modified. Like let's say it's a family and obviously they're not going to let their kids try pisco sour.
Yeah.
Like take them somewhere else instead.
Yeah, or in the pisco sour place there is lemonade, and yeah, we can adapt if it's a private, of course.
For the cooking class, can you cook something vegan?
Yeah,
Or vegetarian?
yeah,
Can
yes.
you think like what do you want to cook? Like?
Yeah, we'd have to, we'd have to think a bit. The ideal thing would be to ask the person what they want, and we can definitely adapt to that. But we could make causa with quinoa. We could make ceviche de champignon. It wouldn't be a problem.
Where are the cheese classes held?
La Gastronoma, you know it?
No.
No. It's in Calle Libertad, just about 2 square from Parque Kennedy, on the Pardo side. So it's a small shop slash bar, and that's where it's 2 hour experience, and there's a sommelier. And it's a bit different than the other products.
Is there any age limit, especially for children?
Well, for the wine and cheese, probably they won't enjoy it. But for the others, basically, we have this policy that if they are not going to eat, if they want, if for example the parents know that their children don't eat much and they prefer to share their food with them, then we don't charge anything for the children. Now, if they think that their children will want to eat their own portion, then they will have to pay the children price. But it doesn't matter their age. It's about if they want to order food or not. Yeah. No, it's just in La Gastronoma. We stay there 2 hours and we chat and taste things. So I would say the one in La Gastronoma, it's ideal to take it at around 5, before dinner. I think that's what I would recommend, because it's a lot of cheese, but if you eat it at 5, and then, well, it depends on everyone, and then you go for dinner like at 9, like you normally do it here in Peru, then it's fine. But if you just eat this later, I don't feel it's like a dinner. So I would recommend at 5, much better.
And that's what also includes the transfer.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks for your attention. And well, if you have any question a few days later, after today, you can call me, email us, whatever. Thank you.